IVM.
Hey there, friend. If you're anything like me, then you have no clue what a mutual fund is, and your life might be subject to market risks too. So that's why you should probably listen to Paisa Vaisa by Anupam Gupta, who'll answer all your questions about mutual funds, financial planning, banking, all that money stuff. You know. Check out new episodes every week on the IVM podcast app and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Geek Fruit Podcast. It's me, Tejas, and this week I have Jishnu with me. Hi Jishnu.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
It's well.
I ask you this because you missed a really important part of last week's episode.
I know.
Where we got a good average of the regulars here, which is me, Dinkar and Janam, to reflect on an email which was the greatest email that we've ever received. I'm talking about you, Sandeep. I knew it. I don't have the email out open in front of me. You do. But of course, his name was not what was important. It was the subject material, which was so incredible that we're doing a reprise and going to have your thoughts on that email. Just for those who don't know, previously on the Geek Fruit podcast, this mail was the greatest mail, as I mentioned, because it has so many points, just not even about what we talk about. What makes this mail so special? It's not about what we talk about. It's about us. It's a personal affront on some of us and then some. So it was titled Janam and Jishnu, You're Needed More Than You Know. Is that what it was called?
Really? Wait, I didn't see that.
Or maybe
wow. For
is.
Janam and Jishnu. Yeah. Damn.
So you are not just, you are Janam and Jishnu, you needed more than you. Regarding as in. No.
Oh, I thought you meant reply email.
Is it reply? It's regarding, right? Like
re colon?
Re's colon is regarding, right?
Doesn't that happen with any response email that comes in? Like if it's in the thread,
maybe it's both.
I might be thinking of circa 1998 rediff mail.
Also that.
Because I recall like when threads would get really long in emails, you'd have like a bunch of
Correct.
Williams.
Williams.
See what I did?
Nicely done. So Jishnu, tell us, just go over the points that really stood out to you.
I don't know. I was very scared to read this mail.
Yeah, and the mail is too long for us to go over again. So to reflect, just go back to our previous episode.
Well, I have to give major props for
the bullet points.
The bullet points, man.
Yeah, we love bullet points, guys.
Done.
If you mail us in bullet points. That's great.
I have to give major props also for spelling Dinakar.
Oh, he does.
Dinakr.
Don't criticize his mail. Respond.
I'm giving him props for that.
Oh, props. Okay.
I prefer the spelling. Also, random feedback subpoint 2.
Okay.
Right. This is like a legal document. Jishnu, 20,018 is irrelevant. Is his point.
20,018.
20,018.
Oh, yeah. That. I'm sure it will be in the future.
So, he's not wrong.
2018 is what he meant.
But I'm definitely still very much living in 2018.
Yeah, you just sent us a screenshot of your project file.
I was editing something and I thought it was 2018. Anyway, I don't know what to say.
I thought 2017 is your favorite year. Because you keep mentioning stuff from 2017. And
right.
Yeah.
I do say 17, don't I? Wait, so then what's he going on about 18?
He's basically saying that
his
you're
facts
right.
Are wrong.
He's saying you're right. 2018 was irrelevant because better things happened in 2017.
Was Logan in 17?
It was.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It was a good year. Anyway, look, the point is, great mail, buddy. This is amazing. Apparently, he's teased a second part.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
I look forward to it, I guess.
It's Sandeep Endgame.
I just, I don't know. I don't even I can't sit and read this thing.
Yeah, it was really
so thoroughly.
Good. But you guys gotta check out the previous episode where we were talking about, what was our previous episode on?
DreamWorks?
No, we spoke about, so for those of you who don't know, please check out our previous episode on Russian Doll. Before we got into it, Dinkar, Janam and I kind of spoke about this amazing email, and it's wonderful. Jishnu
is my name.
Yes. Today's episode, we figured we would do a little bit of an analysis on what's happening right now. We like to kind of reflect on recent TV and movie trends. We do it quite often. And why we're doing it is because next week is Captain Marvel, and then we're subsequently going to get a slew of like films that are, that need immediate reviewing and critical kind of response. So, before we get into it, we're going to talk about the state of affairs right now in terms of revivals and revival episodes. How's it different from an episode we did a long time ago called Age of Franchise?
Because Age of Franchise was in early 2016.
Man, it really was.
Yeah. And that was on the heels of Force Awakens and Jurassic World.
No, it was not on the heels of Force Awakens.
In that it was one of our first few episodes, and Force Awakens was like the first episode.
Yeah, exactly. So it must have been after it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Doesn't heels mean after?
Heels means before.
Heels means before?
On the heels of. Yeah, of course it does.
Really?
Yeah, because you're chasing somebody, so you see their heels first.
I'm on the... Yeah, but so that means I'm after you, no? I'm chasing you.
You're chasing after you.
Chasing after you. Like
another
that Cognac song.
Yeah.
All right then. So, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
That was fun. But that was talking about the fact that we weren't getting, and we still aren't getting that many original scripts for singular
How
entities.
true is that? Is that statistically accurate? No, that's really not a strongest suit.
No. Let's not even go down that rabbit hole of statistics. But I think it's got to be true for where the money goes, where money is invested. Money is invested in big ticket items that have pre-existing brands and stock, and that stuff that's been around for like tried and tested, right?
Right.
Therefore, we get now into the segue of the reboot as opposed to continuing a franchise. For instance, like with, let's say...
Isn't a revival just a continuation of a franchise or a reboot, but just like many years later? It's like, that's it.
It's a many years later thing, and sort of saying like, try to forget about the previous one, or we've updated the previous one. What I mean, I think the distinction is saying... Lord of the Rings happened in the 90s.
Yeah, and then, they shot it in the 90s and came out 2001, 2002, 2003.
And then the Hobbits came out in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
That's continuing the franchise.
Yeah.
Not rebooting the Lord of the Rings story.
But they are going to reboot it now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Therein lies the
but also a good opening argument for something that defines a revival more than... A reboot. Reboot means restarting the entire franchise, right? A revival means, for example, two shows that both you and I love respectively that have had revivals to great response. That's weird. Shows that we love. It's not completely under our gamut of what we speak about on Geek Fruit, but respectively, Gilmore Girls and Fuller House. Let's take a second.
Let's take all the seconds.
Because you know why? I really want to talk about this, but we just never get the chance.
So screw the other people.
Screw the other people. Okay, so we're both fans of the show. Obviously, I've seen Full House from the time I was a kid. I have seen a few episodes of the new show, and I see what's happening there. And similarly, Gilmore Girls is a show that I watched when I was a kid. And when the revival was issued by Netflix, I was just like, oh my god, I remember Gilmore Girls. And I went back and watched 7 seasons of Gilmore Girls in 1.5 years.
You were dying, no? Dengue?
No, that was Luke Cage, but this is after that.
Right.
They showed the trailer for Gilmore Girls, and then I was just like, wow, it kind of brought back like weird flashbacks of my childhood, and then I was just like, cool, I'm gonna rewatch the entire Gilmore Girls because I'd only seen it sporadically. Mm-hmm. But obviously I know what the story is about. And then I went and I watched, it took me a year and change to finish watching 7 seasons. Mm-hmm. And then basically they made a revival of the show, which was divided into seasons. So for not seasons as in the actual seasons, as in 4 episodes which represented summer, winter, fall, and spring.
Okay.
And each episode was movie length. It was 1.5 hours long. And that was it. That was the revival. Mm-hmm. And why it was special is because Amy Sherman-Palladino, who now obviously everybody knows from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, went back to write and direct this because she left the show in season 6 and she kind of doesn't regard season 7 as her own. Ooh, so she got to tell her story and conclude it in the way that she always wanted to. And there's this very big thing which we'll talk about. Maybe we'll spoil it, but we won't. Called The Last 4 Words. And everyone's like, dun, dun. She's been speaking about it for 10 years. So anyway, that was Gilmore Girls. And I was like, oh my gosh, a revival in my spirit similarly, I'm sure. Did the same thing happen to you for Fuller House? Did you see it and go like,
My heart grew 10 sizes.
wow.
Yeah.
That's like 3.5 times the Grinch.
What is he? Three sizes?
3 sizes. So
There
I'm
you
going to go with 3 and 3.
3 and
3
3
and 3 and a third.
3 and a third. It was beautiful. It's so stupid and hokey, and they know it. And especially the first season, they're super meta about everything. They genuinely like turn to camera when somebody mentions in like the first or second episode.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the first time everybody's back together, the whole
Yeah,
cast.
yeah.
They're around the table, and I think Stamos says something of the fact like, "Damn, we all look good. This is great. Like we're still really absurdly attractive as a
Wink,
family."
wink
Yeah.
to camera.
No,
That's
but
what I
no,
noticed
but
first
then,
about it. Yeah.
No, he says that, but
Yeah.
then somebody says, "But wouldn't have been great if Michelle were here too?" Because the twins are
Correct,
not in
yeah.
this reboot. And that's when I think somebody else says, "Yeah, it would have been great, but they're not there." But she
Yeah.
is busy running her fashion empire in
Which
New
is
York.
true
And
for
then,
both of them.
And then 8 people look at the camera and smile.
Oh, man. Is
So-
that weird?
It's weird, but it's also like, well, it sucks to be you because you don't get this love.
Correct, that's true.
So screw you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But and so is like the entire. For those who don't know the story of Full House, quickly give us the. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? I mean, we
It's
never.
like-
Jishnu, I don't know. We get this chance again, man. Let's do it. Let's dive.
A man and a wife have a baby. They then have another baby. They then have a third baby. The wife then dies.
Right. This is in the original Full
This is
Full House.
I'm giving you the origin
Correct,
story.
yeah.
Right. So
The origin story is only how many seasons long?
like 6.
6. Yeah.
So wife is dead. Dude is left with triplets. Much like that other beloved 80s cinematic property, 3 Men and a Baby.
Correct. With Tom Selleck.
Our boy Danny Tanner enlists the help of his cousin Jesse
Yeah.
and his
Bestie.
BFF, I
Yeah.
guess, who is a Joey,
Yeah.
who doesn't really
Joey.
have much going
Is he
on
also
for
an
him.
actor?
No,
What does he
he's
do?
a comedian.
He's a comedian,
So he
okay.
doesn't have much going on for him. This is pre-Netflix, so
Correct.
he didn't have much, too many avenues. They somehow managed to afford an incredibly oversized apartment in San Francisco.
Right.
No, arguably the most expensive city in the world.
Yeah, it
one
is.
of, if not
yeah,
the.
yeah. Real estate
Yeah.
is the highest price in America, which definitely means something.
Danny, Joey, and Jesse spend.
And they have like a
spend the
house,
next,
like a
they
big
have
house.
house.
Yeah,
Like a
it's
house,
in the
house,
title
house.
of the show.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's full.
It's the Full House.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they decide to raise 3 babies, and along the way, hilarity ensues. Hearts are made and
Shenanigans.
broken. Shenanigans and such.
Yeah,
And at some point, the Beach Boys show up, and it's a great
Yeah.
day because they keep showing up again and again and
Are they
again.
there? Are they there in the?
There's 2 of them. Mike Love and Mike Love and Carl Wilson
Right.
show up at like few quick cameos.
So more than one. It's not just a beach boy. It's beach
It's
boys.
seldom a beach boy.
Yeah.
They're a package deal.
Yeah, they ought to be.
It's usually 2, but like in the original season they had I think as many as like 4 of them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But Brian,
No.
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 He's the tough one to get.
Yeah.
He's the expensive.
You
boy,
need to have
beach boy.
the cinematic release of Full House to get Brian Wilson.
Yeah, that's true. No, I agree. So I have to ask you. So important question here. Okay,
Important is
no,
skeptical.
really, and this has led to the revival of Gilmore Girls, which is that the biggest thing that happened for Gilmore Girls was when they took Gilmore Girls and they put it on Netflix. They put all 7 seasons on Netflix. So everyone started watching it. New generation started watching it. I similarly watched it again. And that's how they saw the ratings kind of increase. And they literally used data and saw that, holy shit, this is a thing. Fans originally really wanted it, but now they really, really wanted it. And all they had to do was just check with Amy Sherman Palladino, and since she was doing stuff anyway for like streaming services like Maisel, and they just checked with the cast: Lon Graham, Alexis Bledel, everybody was intact. Only 2 people were really famous from the show, which is Milo Ventimiglia, who's on This Is Us and a ton of other things, and Suki, Melissa McCarthy. Who has become like this super famous star.
Yeah.
So they had to just check with them. In fact, they've used them also strategically in the show. Not that they're there in every scene.
Okay.
They're just used, and they've written the story so that they can feature them only in that much. It's like it's like pretty interesting, and so that's how they got the Gilmore Girls kind of reunion, kind of like together again. Which begs the question, so first of all, did Full House make it to any kind of like Netflix thing, or was it like featured on any streaming service for people to kind of watch this, or how did this happen?
I don't really know how it happened, but I do know that it wasn't on a streaming service until Fuller House came up. And when Fuller House came up, maybe in the run-up to it, they put out Full House.
Right.
Or maybe it was just at the same time. But, I mean, yeah, it's been on streaming services only since
it must have been like one of the most syndicated shows, I think.
Yeah.
So, same thing has been happening for Friends. You know, like I saw Matt LeBlanc's interview with maybe Stephen Colbert, I think he was, or somebody.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about how, or maybe for Jimmy Fallon, and he was like saying that, you know, so many people are watching Friends again now. So many younger, like kids, like teenagers are watching. Do you ever think there will be another Friends?
Be another
revival?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
I think there'll be nothing as drawn out as what Fuller House is doing, which is like now it's going
something
into
like the Gilmore
season
Girls
5 or 6. Yeah, like a quick little...
Yeah.
Because here's the thing,
limited series.
They've done like random tease things. Like on Kimmel, the girls did a recreation of a scene. Not a recreation of a scene. They did a spoof scene.
I remember with the three of the girls.
The three of the girls and Jimmy Kimmel, and something about like how he wants to get them in bed, and it was like a 10-minute sketch.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're willing to do little things like that tells me that, all right, I mean, it's just a longer commitment. You're not opposed to playing Rachel.
Man, and the amount of money.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's basically going to be like, I feel like it's just got to be a matter of timing. Like if all it takes for this to not happen is one of those 6 guys to be like, I'm doing something I genuinely care about right now, and I don't want to do this like easy walk in the park that the reboot would be, because I'm sure that they care about it and they would want to do it well, but at the same time they're like, you do know you just have to say how you doing and then call it a day.
And then that's it.
All you got to do.
That's all people want.
Really?
Man, I'm telling you, when I saw the Gilmore Girls thing, right, it's like they just were checking off boxes because like everybody just wanted to see it.
Right.
Everybody wants to see Luke and Lorelai together again, and it was amazing. Like I cried like I totally cried. It was amazing. And a lot of people were disappointed, by the way. By the critical response to Gilmore Girls was not good.
Was the critical response to the series good?
Oh yeah, it's one of the most lauded, like
critically.
Okay. Yeah, because they invented this like super fast dialogue thing that now a lot of shows like Community and all do. Like Amy Sherman started it off with these 2 girls, and the premise for the show is awesome. It's like it's about Lorelai, her daughter, she names her after herself, Rory. So Lorelai and Rory, basically she had her when she was 16, and so they grew up becoming friends more than mother-daughter. They're more like sisters. And that's the premise of the entire show. And like it's filled with like a bunch of like really weird characters from the small town which the entire show is based on. And it's 7 seasons of that, and it's about Lorelai trying to find love at the same time, manage her daughter and the daughter's life and things like that. But so people just like wanted to see where they would have been. That's it. Like nobody wanted anything more. But they did like a few questionable things in the show that people didn't like. And
like what?
The fact that the good thing about Rory is like she's like the nicest, sweetest girl, and she doesn't do like bad stuff or hurt people, and she makes her very kind of frivolous in this show, that has a boyfriend but she's kind of cheating on him a lot and is very okay with it, and everyone's like, oh, that's not my Rory, and hashtag not my Rory. But whatever, like I was fine with it. It's like a different age. It's like 2018.
I was always more of a Noel guy myself.
Okay, right. But here's my point. Anyway, great show. I thought it was great, and it ends with this really like cliffhanger ending, which is what... Should I go with it? Nah, I shouldn't. Okay, well, I'll tell you later on. But it was really good. And so people kind of saw it. But I don't know if they're going to do another season, whatever. But that's just how revivals happen. I thought it's just because they have found a second life in all these, like, streaming... It's basically what reruns used to be on television, like Seinfeld, etc. And then
it's exactly that.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's the modern age of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and talk about whether modern iterations of shows very similar to them are better than the original. And we will come back and talk about those things.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please make sure that you are. We are IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you are following us on social media, I'm sure you know that it's our 4th anniversary this month. Yeah, IVM is 4 years old. We've done 3,500 plus episodes of content, and it's been an amazing ride with a lot of fun guests, a lot of fun content, and a lot of great hosts. We'd like to thank all of our hosts because without them, we wouldn't really be doing all that much. Also, I'd mentioned over the last couple of weeks that we're running a survey right now, a listener survey. It's on ivmpodcast.com/survey. If you have not filled that out, please do fill it up. It'll help us figure out what is working for you, what's not working, and will give us some information that we can use to get some advertising on the show. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus is joined by comedian Nivedita Prakasam. They talk about Nivedita's experience on a TV reality show and how dating and growing up is different in small town India. We're launching a new show called States of Anarchy about global affairs hosted by foreign policy enthusiast Hamsini Hariharan. On IVM Lives, Janam, Abbas, Karthik, and Alika celebrate IVM's 4th anniversary by recommending some standout episodes and recollecting their favorite moments and experiences. On Dating is Garbage, the hosts are joined by guest Sharanya Subramaniam to discuss dating red flags. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by Jay Toshniwal, CEO of Toshniwal Equities, who explains how you can create wealth with equities. On the Habit Coach podcast, Ashton talks about the importance of checking food labels before buying to avoid hidden sugar, salt, and fat content. On the Swanch podcast, Ambi Parmeshwaran sheds light on the significance of reducing body copy of print ads and making the headlines stand out. And with that, let's continue with your show.
Hey, we're back. We're talking about revivals and how they are different from reboots. But mostly, very recent drop of a trailer, Jordan Peele's The Twilight Zone.
Right.
Something that he's been spearheading and he wanted to kind of do. And it felt right because in his movie, Get Out, it's kind of like one of those, it's like an episode of Twilight Zone. He won an Oscar, he did so well. And I think he is really intrigued by the what ifs, of cinema and, story. And he likes this kind of bizarre science fiction-y kind of stuff. And in fact, his new movie, Us, also has a very similar kind of setting. So, felt right that he kind of does the Twilight Zone, and his trailer for the Twilight Zone is really cool. It's star-studded. In fact, it's got just a lot of comedians in it. It's got like Kumail Nanjiani, it's got John Cho, it's got like a bunch of like funny people in it, but doing this very, very serious bent of bizarro kind of drama. Here's my question. The Twilight Zone being it's like a revival or reboot, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I mean, we already live in a world which has like Charlie Brooker's Black Mirror, and that is kind of like our generation's Twilight Zone, right? It's a lot more relevant to because it's using, and maybe Twilight Zone, in fact, it most probably will be a lot more common to what we are going through right now. It's going to be modern iterations of the Twilight Zone. Came out in like the 60s or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, really, really old show. And now it's being revived, so it's like a huge gap in time. So obviously it's going to have to kind of be a lot more Black Mirror-y. But do you think we needed this? I mean, we could have had Twilight Zone as the Black Mirror of the 60s and now have Black Mirror now. And so did we really need another show?
You're saying, do we need a Twilight Zone when we have a Black Mirror?
Yeah. I mean, like, what was their thinking, and why is it just the brand name? Because it's like more than 50 years old, so it's not like we are going to recognize it. We all know it as, the Twilight Zone used to be this weird show.
I think a lot of it is the brand name. To answer the question, do we need it? That's usually a no for most things, but that doesn't stop anybody. Or
is it just competition to Black Mirror or something? I don't know.
I mean, the question of like, do we need another thing that makes us like really put a lens at our own being?
It's fine. There's no end to how many you can have.
Exactly. So that I don't think is like a very relevant question at least. But it's more of the you're right. It's more of the fact that it's this particular series. Like if Jordan Peele said, I'm making a show that is whatever the Twilight Zone will be, but calls it the Jordan Peele Hour.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be fun, but it would get a completely different response and reaction critically and from the audience, because you'd go into it with the expectation of a Jordan Peele, Key and Peele thing, but it's obviously something a little darker, right? But like,
that's true.
Knowing that it's the Twilight Zone, you're gonna watch it with that like, all right, blow my mind.
Yeah, and they've retained the logo and everything. The original, that creepy kind of eerie Scooby-Doo type thing.
So to that end, I think it's more of the fact that it's a strategic move to bring back something that was once so beloved and sort of say like, allow me the chance to like do this.
It was so funny. I don't know if did you see the trailer for this?
I've not.
So it's quite funny. It's Jordan Peele being like, what if we looked at humanity and did this, and I could not take him seriously because I've watched so much Key and Peele. It's just like he's doing another character. It's so tough for me to take him seriously.
It's great.
But it was great. And I saw it and it was good. I was just like, but we have like our generation's thing to reboot or revive 20 years from now. Black Mirror will, do that. I just found it like really interesting. In fact, it also kind of, it makes me think a lot of what Disney's trying to do, right? So Disney right now is in the space of doing their three biggest things. One is the Disney films, the animated and the live action versions of their previously animated films. They're doing Star Wars and they're doing Marvel, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's a huge difference between what Star Wars is doing and what Marvel is doing, right? Star Wars is basically, and now they're trying to conclude the Skywalker saga at the end of this year. But they're still using Star Wars as this long-running kind of saga of,
Mahabharata.
Yeah, exactly, that people are aware of.
Yeah.
Using lightsabers, all that stuff. But Marvel, on the other hand, is creating newer and newer IPs. Like, in fact, just recently, Kevin Feige was talking about Eternals and how that's going to be like the next big thing and might have its first LGBT lead character and so many like newer things that Marvel is doing. So for them, it's just like they're doing both. They're reviving stuff, or they're rebooting stuff at the same time. And they're doing all three. Yeah, they're rebooting, reviving, and they're making new stuff. And I just felt like, which one are people more excited for this year? It's tough for me to think about Star Wars and not be really excited about it.
I think Marvel.
But Marvel, man.
Marvel's the sexier one.
It's so sexy.
Because it's new and it's shiny and it's it's got the interesting thing of even though you're right in that they are a sort of how do I put it? They are creating a lot of new worlds and whatnot.
Yeah.
With every movie, it's a brand new thing for the most part. Even though it's interesting because it's on the heels of the fact that these characters existed on the page.
Well used.
But only maybe 10% of the viewing audience of these movies will have actually read Captain Marvel.
Correct.
If you're lucky, 10%. And once we get beyond, once we get into phase 4, who knows, who we're going to see.
Yeah.
If we get for instance, Patton Oswalt is writing. No, he's voicing, and he might be writing. He's voicing MODOK in an animated.
Oh, that's
in an
so
animated
perfect.
show,
Yeah,
right? That's great. But who the hell knows MODOK? I didn't know about MODOK until I played Contest of Champions, and then I regretted it. But that's the thing. So they have what Star Wars doesn't have. Marvel has. They have a lot of back catalog, and with Star Wars, you're just building on pure cinema.
Yeah, but exactly.
You're building on pure cinema, right?
All
the extended universe of Star Wars is bonus. But with the Marvel stuff, these, in a way, the films are the bonus.
Yeah.
Because the
films, DNA comes from
50 plus years of, well more than 50 years.
75 years.
Yeah, 75 years of tried and tested. If it works on paper, then you know it's going to work on screen.
Yeah.
But with Star Wars, it's let's just hope it works on screen. If it's good enough, maybe we'll put it on paper and then fans will eventually buy it.
Yeah, but I feel like we're far enough into the future for it to kind of go both ways. It's okay whether it came from the screen or from book. And
when you've crossed 40 years.
But my thing is that, I'm still saying that, the majority of all the films that we see in a year are sequels. All the biggest ones, all the tentpole films are all sequels.
Yeah.
So if we already know that people are more excited for things like Avengers and these, so why do you think people are still kind of, it's that crutch, man, that people have on previously. There's a lot of talk about why Disney is trying to do just not even live action, CGI versions of their animated films. And Jungle Book at least had it started with Beauty and the Beast and all that stuff. It had live action characters, and then the setting was CGI. Then they went to Jungle Book, which was mostly CGI and one dude, and now it's all CGI.
Right.
So I'm just and a lot of people are why are we doing this when we have a perfectly good version of it that came out only maybe 20 years ago that people can still see because it's not aged.
Why does McDonald's keep making muck stuff? It's you have the Big Mac, it works. You don't need another one. It's but if we intend to keep the store open for this many years running, we need to have something to talk about. You know what I mean? It's the company couldn't exist if there was just the one burger that worked for forever, like Coca-Cola, right? I'm literally drinking Coca-Cola right now. But
that's my point.
But the thing is, they still keep pulling out there's raspberry Coke.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Raspberry
Why
Coke.
do you need that? They're doing it because when a company's been around for this damn long, they're we need to do something. we know this works. Let's just give you a little
I mean, I
twist
feel
on
like
it.
we're entering Dinkar's space right now with the chip review and stuff. But if you guys don't know, at the chip review on Instagram, and just dive into that world of amazing just Dinkarism.
Of not news.
Yeah, of not news. But so for example, Lay's chips, classic.
Yes.
Orange Lay's, greatest chips packet
the
ever,
West Indies.
arguably.
The
Yes.
West Indies one?
Yeah. The
Why is
sweets.
it called West Indies?
It's not even a real place. I had to explain that to somebody recently. That the West Indies is not a country.
So what is it?
It's like SARC. It's an association.
All right, then.
Yeah, well, the West Indies, I mean, they needed a name to kind of call their cricket team, I suppose. That's how it came about.
They couldn't have gone with, like, the Titans.
Why?
It's a cooler name than West Indies, bro.
Have you seen the show? I don't think it is.
No?
I saw maybe an episode and a half.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
I put myself through stuff.
That bad?
No, it's okay. My flatmates are on episode 7. And I asked them, I was like, how are you on episode 7? Is it good? Is it actually good? They're like, no. It's just
I'm just
watching it.
I'm just sitting here, bro. Like,
We're just watching it.
It's just autoplay.
You know why we watch all that stuff? We all just want to see Batman.
And
he's like referenced a lot on the show.
but he hasn't shown up yet in 7 episodes?
There's a shadow. They've not cast the character. So we
like
only
that.
see like the back of him when...
But see, that's the thing. So why do we want to see Batman?
Because he's the best.
Exactly, right? So it's just like, let's
You
give
know
us
why?
another
It's a
reason.
reliable character.
All we're looking for is recontextualization of the same thing. I want my sugar rush. I don't care if it comes in a donut or a can of Coke or whatever the hell. Just make sure that it's interesting to me so that at least when I wake up the next day and I get over my sugar hangover, I'm like, hey, I can be excited about the fact that today it's in a drink as opposed to a
No, for example,
candy
people
bar.
didn't know they wanted Black Mirror until they saw it and they were like, oh, cool, we can watch a Black Mirror now.
Right.
And that's the thing that I want, and that's how they make new seasons of it. Similarly, like Russian Doll, like new show, I mean, like similar premise to a few kind of other things that we've seen, but like fresh kind of show. And you like it. And then even like Marvel doing, I mean, I keep bringing up the example of Guardians of the Galaxy because it was so effective.
Yeah.
It was literally a comic that nobody knew about,
Right.
less than a percentage of the population of the planet. And then suddenly overnight, that trailer had like 30 million views. Everybody knows about Rocket Raccoon. Everybody did their homework. And now they're...
It was a definite Hail Mary that worked.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen every day. It was quite a Hail Mary.
But that's the thing. My point is like Marvel has succeeded just on the merit of them being like, I have a good idea and I trust my taste. And I mean, like that's what everyone is doing in art, right?
But they've also had horrible misses with the exact same characters. Remember the fact that like Daredevil Ben Affleck version was not received well. And
Well, it was a
they
treatment.
waited. But that's what I mean. So like the thing is, it's the problem is not can Daredevil work? It's like, can you just do it right? Because anything can work if you
align it with the
contextualize
taste.
it.
With
Contextualize it appropriately to what is working at the time.
Yeah.
At the times, they said, circa whatever 90. When did it come out? Early 2000s.
2002.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's when Evanescence dropped Bring Me to Life.
So
That's how I know.
I think
the
music videos for those movies did a lot better than the actual film.
It's like Bollywood.
Right? So
I think any
they tried.
Mahesh Bhatt film, and Mahesh Bhatt goes like, "Hey, listen, I have 7 great hit songs. Let's write a movie around this one."
So they were like 5 years too early, basically.
Have you seen Jannat?
Should I?
Exactly.
Okay, there you go. So,
Jannat reference.
In
Sorry,
2002, it doesn't work, but 10 years down the line when it comes to Netflix, it does. Because now in 2012 or whenever the hell, when did it come out?
What?
Season 1 of Daredevil?
15?
Really?
Yeah.
3 seasons in 3 years? 4 years?
Yeah.
It's 2017?
2017, 2018 is when the third season came out. So I would say 2016, 2017.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing, right? It's
Have you seen it yet?
The third season?
Yeah.
No.
Dude, what are you doing, man?
If we're not reviewing it, I don't think I won't rush to see it.
I want to review it because it's one of the best seasons of anything I've seen, man. It's so good.
Or like this. Have you finished Breaking Bad?
Yeah, almost. I literally have like episodes left. Like that's it.
I too have 8 episodes left
he
to
has
watch of season 3.
No, it's not 8.
How many is this?
13, like
Oh,
huge.
damn it. I was
Like huge.
hoping. God
But
damn it.
it's
Oh well.
fucking amazing.
I know.
dude.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
I will finish it if you finish this. This is how I made a deal. That's
What?
why I started watching Breaking Bad. I had to convince Abhimanyu
to watch Walking Dead.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's finished Game of Thrones.
Have you noticed the Game of Thrones noise? Hullabaloo is not?
Oh, You don't.
I'm waiting for it. I'm
look a gift shark in the
my anus
gift horse,
my
not
anus
gift
is quite
shark.
clenched. I'm waiting for the ball to drop.
It's going to, friend.
Yeah.
After Endgame, what do you think is going to happen?
When is it out? June,
one of the months in the year.
2020. Okay.
No, it's this year.
Sometime
It's
this year.
definitely this year. But my point is that Game of Thrones is going to go big and go hard.
Yeah.
and you're going to regret saying these goddamn words.
I know.
Because everything in your life is going to come to a halt.
Crashing halt. Yes.
Because it's going to be like, man, Game of Thrones is like it's the biggest goddamn thing on this planet. Not even Marvel or Star Wars can stop that train, man. 6 episodes of just pure, unadulterated entertainment.
I think it's the one thing that has given porn a run for its money when it comes to piracy.
Yeah, it's the number one pirated show of all time.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, why is that the case anymore? Since we've seen how many seasons? 7 seasons?
Yeah.
In 7 years, or 8 years, in fact. They haven't reduced torrenting to like because streaming stuff is cheap, man.
Yeah,
it's cheap. Anyway, okay, we're gonna take a break.
So
and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about our favorite revivals of all time and things that you didn't know were revivals.
The most engaging and the most useful conversations you may have in your life are likely to be with your most challenging customers. Hi, I'm Ambi Parmeshwaran. And on this podcast, I will take you through my book, Sponge Leadership Lessons I Learned from My Clients. Packed with real stories about real people. But most of all, packed with the innumerable lessons I soaked up from some of the most iconic business leaders like Ratan Tata, Azim Premji, S. Ramadorai, Karsanbhai Patel, M. Damodaran, Dr. Kurian, and many more. Don't forget to tune into the Sponge podcast. Keep sponging to keep learning.
Hey guys, it's me Tejas. We're back. We're talking about revivals, reboots. We were talking about revivals, but we kind of spilled into reboots because the line that divides them, is quite blurry.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's irrelevant. Because, look, we were talking about Game of Thrones and the fact that date was
Yeah.
wrong. So, April 14th is when it's coming out. Endgame is coming out April 26th.
Okay, so here's what I've done. I've been
There's no
declining
noise.
shows and any kind of work for the 26th and that week, the third week of April. Jishnu, we're going to go hard, man.
And do what?
We're going to do some stuff. I have some stuff.
You do. Go.
That's what Jishnu always says. He says you do and then he ends up shooting or being heavily involved.
So, but do you not find this weird? That's why my butt is so tight right now. Because I'm bracing for impact for the Game of Thrones for the Game of Thrones bomb to drop, right?
Yeah.
On the just the mass media campaign of just when the Game of Thrones noise begins, people be saying Trump who, right? Because the
People
whole
want to
world
say
is
that
gonna,
anyway, but yeah.
the world is just going to be talking about Game of Thrones. But Endgame is a week, a little more than a week, almost 2 weeks after the fact.
Is
Yet
it because
there's still noise happening?
Well,
for that.
is it because Game of Thrones is going to go on for like 6 weeks essentially, right?
Yeah.
Avengers is just like one, but I guess it's the same.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
As much as, how we will have to see Endgame first day, first show, otherwise we're going to get spoiled.
Correct.
Same thing has always been the case with every episode of Game of Thrones, and especially now
True,
is when
true,
it's like
true.
the most critical moment, right? It's
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
first episode, who knows how many mofos are going to die. So,
people's going to be dropping
so
like
if you're
flies.
if you're not there on Pirate Bay or wherever you are,
Why Pirate Bay?
on April 14th,
Hotstar, guys. Releases seconds after the episode airs in America.
rar.bg.
Why?
Sudeep is a fan of Hotstar.
Yeah, he's a big fan.
He so big he asks them for money in a monthly format.
Yeah, he gives them, he provides them with services and they pay him in return.
But not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
They used to take money from them.
No, I think he's still taking money, but he'll stop taking money.
This is great. Sudeep, as you know, is part of the Dinkar Hate/Love Chronicles.
Is he in the army? Is he in Dink's army?
He's hashtag Dinksami.
He is now?
Yeah.
I thought
I don't know. I'm not sure. He's not declared it.
I thought he was his Voldemort.
Maybe, but then one cannot survive
Is
without
he
the
a
other.
Snape? Is he?
He's always.
Is he a rogue agent? Is he playing the long game? Is he actually his lover?
Perhaps.
And we are just
We're gonna find out soon enough.
caught in a ruse.
When we're all going for Avengers, what do you think is gonna happen?
Is it ruse or a ruse?
A ruse.
A ruse. How do you spell
Rouge is French for.
How do you spell ruse?
R-U-S-E. No, it's R-O-U-S-E.
Yeah?
I don't know. I'm confused. Listen, man, we were talking about our favorite revivals and things that you didn't know are revivals and adaptations. What do you got?
Mad Max.
Right.
So, the
Great
target
pick.
audience
Great
for the
pick.
Mel Gibson movie and the target audience for the whatchamaface.
But it's not a revival or a reboot.
That's the thing.
It's a sequel.
It's like a spiritual sequel, shall we say?
So you know what
because
people have said?
you need to know nothing about the previous
Yeah.
movie. So it's basically the same premise in that like here's dystopian world with cars and shit and explosions.
I agree, and but some people have gone on to make this theory. This was floating about when it released that in Mad Max 3, Mel Gibson finds this young boy and who becomes kind of like a
bass
side
player.
character. Yeah,
And then he goes on a car.
no, not that guy, but another kid. And a lot of people are speculating that he's not
Joe.
Max. He is that kid who then becomes the new Max, the new Mad Max. He also becomes mad.
Did you ever watch Fantastic Max on Cartoon Network?
What? No. What is that?
Anybody in the room? Fantastic Max?
No.
Max?
Hit me. What is that?
It was a cartoon with Baby.
Is it being revived?
No, but I kind
Then
of
we're
wish
not
it was.
talking. Okay.
It's cool. It was about a toddler with a mohawk, red hair, fiery red hair with a mohawk, who I believe was in space. And his name was Max, and he was fantastic.
Okay, that's good. I want to talk about the greatest revival of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, no, but okay, let's talk about some revivals that you didn't know. Jack Ryan is something that has been rebooted over and over again.
Okay.
Most recently starring John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Which have you seen?
Nope.
It's okay. It's your
But
it's
now
your very basic.
I don't like action movies or action
It's
thingies.
not. It's very geopolitical. Yeah, it's got action. Yeah.
I mean, like, no, I don't like.
Which, by the way-
I love Avengers. There's action in that.
No, but
it's not
Jack Ryan, at least in the first 4 episodes which I've seen, he takes part in little to no amounts of action.
Okay.
He's just like being Jim from The Office,
In
and just
my
like
head,
looking into the camera and stuff.
Crap. What was that movie from maybe 10 years ago at this point? It was a movie.
Jack.
No, Matthew McConaughey. I want to say maybe not Matthew McConaughey. Somebody in.
Yeah.
It was like an Oscar movie, action movie, one word title. A journalist, I want to say.
A journalist is an Oscar movie.
A journalist.
Okay.
Who is in a hostile foreign country.
Okay.
Is on the run from local rebels, and the dude is always like the whole movie. It's like an action movie with the guys in like a tie because he's like
What
journalist man.
is this?
But he's like a pseudo action guy. It was a really good movie.
Who is in it?
I got some white guy.
An
I don't have a
Oscar-winning
name.
movie.
This is gonna bug me.
Jishnu.
This is gonna really
Shame,
bug me. It was a
shame.
good movie.
We're gonna find out.
That surprised me.
I want to talk about
Damn
my
it.
other favorite adaptations or
I don't
revivals or what
care.
else.
Fine, tell me.
Greatest one of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, second greatest.
Uh-huh.
Queer Eye.
Okay.
Amazing.
But I've seen A episode, yeah. Of the
Yeah,
new
so
one.
so the original was called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, which is where 5 gay guys go and help straight dudes clean up their life and just give them free stuff and make them more fashionable and cool.
Yeah.
And
how's
give
it
them
different?
confidence.
How's it different?
So the new one has just got a title Queer Eye. It's got a new cast of it's got a new Fab Five basically, and in fact there's a nice little featurette online where the old Fab Five meets the new Fab Five.
How old is the old one?
2001, 2002, something like
okay.
that. So yeah, quite a difference.
I was just about to say that's not that.
Yeah, it's about
pretty
like
old.
15
It's
years.
pretty
Yeah,
old.
15, 16 years. So and the new Fab Five are amazing. They could be the Avengers, by the way. They could all be Jonathan could be Thor. Yeah, I've realized this means nothing to you.
I've seen the episode.
Karamo could be Captain America. I mean, anyway, so it's a great
Who's
show.
the Indian guy?
He's Pakistani. He's
Pakistani.
Tan France.
What's his real name?
Tanveer. France.
Tanveer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's just like, you could go with a French toque for your shirts.
A took?
A toque? A French toque?
Toque.
You know what a French toque is?
Nope.
It's where you're wearing a belt and the rest of your shirt is
Oh,
not
just
tucked in.
the middle bit?
Just the middle one,
Just
yeah.
the middle bit.
It really works well.
I call that my... Oh, I didn't tuck in my shirt properly.
Yeah,
Tuck.
that's an Indian thing.
That's my... Oh, I just did this in a rush.
Yeah, so that's a revival of sorts. And it's
That
good.
you enjoy.
Yeah, I
That you're
really do.
happy
And I've cried in many an episode.
Well, look, here's the thing. That subject matter also is something that needs to be
Revived.
and constantly put in the limelight.
So they kind of
like
talk about that in the show. In the first episode itself, they said that Queer Eye, the original show, stood for just, announcing themselves that they were looking for acceptance at that point of time, and now it's more like normalizing it even more. And they've dropped for the straight guy because it's no longer just guys that they kind of do up, and they're also women subjects, or at least for each episode. And they're also like gay guys also in the show, like from the LGBT community who they help. So it's not just limited to straight guys, which was kind of like the gimmick of the first show, but now it's kind of like open, and it's great. It's an awesome show. They're coming out with season 3 now in a bit. So yeah, man, cool.
I have one gripe though with the reboot revival. How should I say? Format that people are following.
Yeah.
So you're right, and Mad Max is not strictly a revival or a reboot. It's like a spiritual sequel.
Yeah.
But what I'm not a fan of, pretty much just out and out, are the female reiterations for the sake of it.
So you didn't like the Ghostbusters thing?
I did not like the Ghostbusters thing. I've heard horrible things about Ocean's 8.
I saw Ocean's 8. Here's my thing, and you're right. Unless there was like a really Adventure Time does this cartoon which I love, right? They've done an episode which is a gender bent episode where it's like an alternate universe where everybody's gender swapped, and the main characters who are Jake and Finn become Cake and Fiona, and it's just like nice. And Donald Glover plays the opposite role of somebody else, and it's great, and it's awesome. But it's like a one-off thing, just for like just to see what would happen in an alternate universe.
It's a sketch.
It's
one
a sketch.
episode.
Yeah. But in
That's
Ocean's
fine.
8, which I saw, they try and address the fact that why they're all ladies in this, right? So Sandra Bullock essentially is playing his sister, Danny Ocean's sister.
Oh,
and
essentially or literally?
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, she is.
She is the sister.
So it is in the same world.
It is, and it starts off by them saying that Danny is dead now.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the opening of the film, so it's no spoilers or anything like that. And that she's taking over and she wants to do this. And then Cate Blanchett, who basically is playing her Rusty, who's what's his name? Anyway, Brad Pitt's character.
Sure.
And a version of that. And she says, okay, cool, we got this guy friend. She's like, no guys. And she's like, why? She's just like, I hate guys. I don't want to use them in this mission. That's essentially what they say. And later on, they find out it's because she's doing this because very similar to Danny Ocean, she has like a vendetta kind of plot. It's not just that she wants to make big. Sure. She has like a revenge thing against this one dude who either dumped her or was like something like that. Some kind of relationship-y kind of thing. Similar to Danny Ocean, very similar. Yeah. And that's how they explain it away in one sentence. Yeah. But it still didn't feel like, and while the movie is just about okay, it didn't feel like it was a good enough reason for them to just do this all-female thing. Similarly, I don't know, I didn't see Ghostbusters. And while people said it was okay...
I saw it. It was not.
It was not
really
okay?
not, because I love everybody in that cast.
But
and
did
I love
they
that,
say
I love
why?
That property. They say why what?
Why it's only female in Ghostbusters?
But something equally just throw away. Like, that's not a reason. That's just you're writing it in just to like cover your ass to say like, I gave you a reason. I'm like, no, that's not a reason. Yeah. Because here's the thing. My only problem with it is the fact that you're using the gender flip as the reason for this film to exist. You're not saying that I've written a sequel to Ghostbusters, I've written a sequel to Ocean's 11 or 13, 14, whatever we're at.
8.
Yeah, but...
Yeah.
How many were there before that?
There were 11, 12, 13. Now they're doing 8, which they were supposing they were going to do 8, 9, 10 and then complete 6 numbers. But
yeah, basically the fact is both these movies, I could be wrong, but I really feel like they're screaming, somebody said, I want a female version of this movie, write me a script. As opposed to, I have a great script. And it has only girls in it.
I know we both love the fact that, even like in Star Wars, like the main characters, it's like Rey is a woman, but that's not really why. I mean, that's not inherently thing to the plot, right?
Yeah. Which is what's empowering.
Which is what's great. Yeah. I really love that about it, right? Like that, it just happens that she's a woman, but she's a perfectly amazing like hero. Right. In fact, I really like her as like the leading character of the new series, but. No, I don't know. I mean, you and I obviously have separate thoughts, but like sometimes you gotta make I mean, like, I know people are doing it as part of the marketing. In fact, Captain Marvel is being marketed the same way, right? Like, she's Marvel's first female superhero, and it's the fact that it's no coincidence that it's releasing on International Women's Day.
Sure.
But and that's kind of
There
the thing
remains, of course, there remains a chance that that movie might not be good. I don't think that's not even remotely possible.
I know we
in my
spoke
opinion.
I know it's not.
However, okay, I'll put it to you like this.
I'm very excited for
what
it.
I think, Ocean's 8 and Ghostbusters are is the exact equivalent to The Expendables, which is a movie where they said, I have this amazing cast of manly f***ing men who are going to just do manly men things and blow things up.
Yeah.
Let me now just give them guns and like a vague plot line and then sell it as this is the manliest movie of the year.
Yeah, and they were going to make a female version of that called The Expendables.
Amazing.
Which never saw the light of day.
But see, that's the thing. Like, I see both those movies equally flawed just from the ground up. I'm just like, that is not... That's
how you
not
make a film.
That's not a story.
But most movies are made this. I mean, like, people
and most
find
movies
a marketing.
and most movies shouldn't be movies.
No, but like sometimes they work, sometimes it's good. I'm saying I saw The Expendables. It's terrible.
I did, yeah.
I can't watch.
Regretted it.
I can't.
Yeah, I know.
No, I've not seen. I couldn't get past a certain point.
Achha.
Yeah, it was bad.
I think I've seen the whole thing. I could be wrong. But anyway.
There are 3 of them, Jishnu.
Yeah, I've seen most, if not all of one.
All right, another favorite revival, Battlestar Galactica. That's our episode.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, Jishnu.
All right.
And we will see you next week. We're going to be talking about Captain Marvel, obviously, and we're very excited about it, regardless of what we might think about the marketing or otherwise.
I'm sure it'll come to play.
I'm sure
going to have many thoughts on this cat.
But hold on.
I'm very apprehensive about the
that
damn
cat has
You know I'm not a
finally
cat
given
guy.
my cat a costume to cosplay.
Which is?
He can be the cat from Captain Marvel,
So
Goose.
you just give him the goose.
The
collar.
we've already given him a bow tie like many years ago, but he doesn't like wearing it. But he's a very similar looking guy. He's a ginger.
But so you'll just give him a collar which says goose.
Goose, yeah. And
you
can also,
should get him a flight suit.
Yes.
And then write goose on it.
And he'll be Top Gun Goose.
Yes.
Of course. I'm sure that's why he's called
You're
Goose.
Tom Cruise's height.
I am also Tom Cruise's
All right, go on. Fan.
Fan.
There you go.
That's what
Good
I was
save.
going to
Good
say. All right, so we're really excited about Captain Marvel. We're really excited about I'm not excited about Jishnu's lack of excitement for the cat. But we have Dinkar and I and Janam kind of went over the political aspect of Captain Marvel. If you want to go check that out, and how it's being marketed, etc. So we wanted to kind of get that slightly out of the way, so we could just focus on the film, which is what we should all do, about the merits of the film itself, of the screenplay, which is something we're really excited about doing. So make sure you catch our Captain Marvel special next week. Till then, you can mail us. You can contact us on contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. That's the entire email address, contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. Find us on all social media @geekfruithq on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're going to be doing some exciting stuff in the next few weeks, so make sure you stay tuned. Stay through from Captain Marvel to Avengers Endgame and Game of Thrones. All right, see you later, you nerds.
Hey Meghnad, do you know how to citizen?
Hey Shreyas, do you know how to citizen?
Hey Meghnad, do you know how to citizen?
Hey Shreyas, let's just do a podcast about it.
Let's do a podcast about it. A podcast is called How to Citizen. In every episode, we get a new guest and discuss one chapter from the 8th grade civics textbook. Think about it as 3 friends revising before a test, and we go back to school. There's nostalgia, there's trauma, there are lunch breaks, there are favorite teachers, there are horrible teachers, there's everything.
So every Tuesday, we bring in a guest on the podcast and we ask them a very simple question. Do you know how to citizen?
Meghnad, I think the question is, do you know how to citizen?
But Shreyas, I'm asking you this question. Do you know how to citizen?
Hello, everybody. We have a brand new daily podcast we're working on with Bloomberg Quint. All you need to know provides the top news on business, markets, and the economy so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Tune in every morning on BloombergQuint.com, the IVM podcast app, or wherever you get your podcast from.